Yo, what's good? Zip it up, fam. Welcome back. Man, I'm so ready for this episode. Thanks for joining once again. It is a Wednesday night and we are starting this recording. So by the time you hear it, it will be Thursday. That will come into play in just a second. I don't know, I'm already getting around to it, but look, we just had a race at COTA, Austin, Texas. Hence the hat. I'm actually wearing my Franklin's barbecue hat tonight. I should have worn it last week, right? Leading into Texas, but hey, if you listen to last week's podcast, I gave one restaurant recommendation, Franklin's Barbecue. And then if you watch the race on TV during the pre-race coverage, you saw Clint Boyer do a bit from Franklin's. So Clint, if you're out there listening to the pod, thanks, man. And you're welcome for the restaurant recommendations. That was kind of cool because that's like the one restaurant I've been to in Austin, Texas, and it was good enough to get Clint Boyer and Fox Sports over there. But anywho, yeah, we're going to talk about the sorry, I'm going to be all over the place. I feel like we're going to talk about the COTA race, and then we will get into our Phoenix preview by the end of this episode. We have a full weekend of racing coming up. I will explain that at the end of the episode. But if you like racing action, this is your weekend. This is my weekend. This is exciting. So let's go ahead and jump into this episode, and let's begin with our drink. Okay. So tonight's drink. Special toast because, again, I am recording here on a Wednesday night. By the time the episode is released and you're getting around to listening to it, it's going to be at least Thursday. So on episode release day, it's actually going to be graduation day for me. So for those of you that have followed along, I have been in school for the past 2.5 years working on my bachelor's, which I just wrapped up at Full Sail University. And so I am getting a sportscasting degree, and graduation day is tomorrow. So I wanted to make this special toast to the graduates, my class of graduates, especially those classmates of mine that I got to work with for the past 2.5 years. It's very possible some of them might be listening right now. So, man, congratulations to each of you. We made it. We did it. And so I'm excited to meet y'all tomorrow, or, when you're listening to this, I'm excited to meet you today. Um, it's going to be an exciting weekend of celebrating. So, you know, I, this is a midweek. This is the same night that I record every week. And so I don't like to go too hard, but, and we're not going to go hard tonight either. It's just the start, but this is the start of my graduation weekend. I've got the next couple days off of work. I won't be returning until Monday. So we are going to have a weekend full of celebration. I'm very excited. And it isn't so much like about me. I know that that's what everybody else thinks it. That's going to be hanging out and celebrating all weekend. They're probably going to think it's about me. But if you see it from my eyes, my perspective, this is about those people closest to me that have supported me. Not just the past 2.5 years, but the past 30 some years of my life. I got close family and friends that are going to be around. Some are coming from out of town. Cannot wait to see them and celebrate with them. Yeah, it's just a good reason to get everybody together, get the whole gang together, and have a night of celebrating. So that's what we're going to do this weekend. And it kind of starts tonight by talking some NASCAR on the pod. So again, this is to me and my class of graduates. We're having a Miller Lite, and we got the retro Dr. Pepper Kozy straight from Waco, Texas, right down the road from Austin, Texas. So, hey, cheers. Let's have ourselves an episode. All right, so let's first start off. We do have a little NASCAR news that came out today. Cletus McFarland has secured himself a ride in the O'Reilly series, and it'll be 3 races that he'll be with RCR. He's hoping that this could turn into something more, something bigger, obviously. This is a great start, though, for him. I think he's going to be in the 33 car for RCR in the O'Reilly series. That's big stuff. So happy for Cletus. A lot of people, the internet has different feelings on Cletus and other drivers, obviously, but I'm a Cletus McFarland fan. He has a great fan base. I'm excited to see him get more embedded into the sport. And, he's definitely not where he needs to be yet. RCR, I think part of the reason that they're signing him is to be, to help him develop. So he's a developmental driver for sure. He's nowhere near where he needs to be in order to be competitive on a weekly basis at a NASCAR level. But he has a great, huge fan base that's going to come over with him. And he's a great personality. He's easy to like. So I wish him well. I think this is a great starting point. I mean, to land 3 races with RCR, that's big. So happy for him. Figured we would go ahead and nail that right off the top. But that's like all the NASCAR news I really wanted to discuss. Now let's get into COTA. Okay, this past weekend, they were at the Circuit of the Americas. And boy, I told you last week my pick to win COTA, the non-Hendrick pick was Tyler Reddick. He came through again. So we get the little Michael Jordan three-peat with Tyler Reddick. He's got 3 wins in 3 races to start the Cup Series season. And no one has ever done that to begin a season. First of all, yes, drivers have won 3 races in a row. We saw Christopher Bell do that last year, pretty sure. But never to start the season. Big time heater that Tyler Reddick and that 45 car are on right now. He already has the same number of wins that last year's champion had for the entire season last year. Okay. Let's go back to 2025. Kyle Larson, your champion. He won 3 races all season long. Tyler Reddick has already matched that. So he is for sure bolted to the top of the leaderboard when it comes to not only the point standings, but like favorites to win it all this year. He's in a great position, especially with the playoff points that are coming. They're going to be seeded 1 through 16. And that number 1 seed is going to have a lot of points to start the chase with. And Tyler Reddick is in the best spot imaginable in order to get that 1 seed. So yeah, a lot of things can fall apart. It's a long seed. There's still 23 races to go until we get those seeds taken care of. But man, he is off to a great start. And he's on pace for a historical 36 win season. I don't think it's going to happen, but man, he's you can't win them all unless you win the first 3, right? So man, a crazy run that he's gone on right now, especially after going winless last year. This is a guy that has proven that he can win races. He had 8 career wins going into last season, didn't win a single race, but this year he's already increased that number to 11, and he's put himself in a good spot. That team could not have drawn up a better start. No team could have. Nobody imagined this would happen. So crazy start for Tyler Reddick. All right, let's talk about Corey Day. Not a fun topic right now, but the growing pains continue. We kind of talked about it last week because coming out of Atlanta, he was wrecking the junior motorsports cars, which are essentially our teammates out there. Look, Corey Day's got himself a rocket ship. He's in Hendrick Motorsports equipment, the only O'Reilly series car that we have full time anyway. And he's out there running fast. It's clear he has speed, but he's making a lot of enemies. Even though he's got good finishes, he doesn't have any friends right now. So, the struggles were kind of to be expected coming into this season. He's new to pavement. So this is a brand new world for him. So it's not a surprise to see him struggling, but he's making a lot of mistakes right now. He's making a lot of enemies that's just going to haunt him even more. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he can, develop as a driver. That's clearly what this is. With Hendrick Motorsports, they would like to see Corey Day develop, just like RCR is going to do with Cletus for a little bit, except Hendrick is giving Corey Day a full O'Reilly Series season. So yeah, it'll be interesting to follow his development and see if he can, mature and minimize the mistakes. Obviously, he's not the first driver to ever do this, okay? We've seen boneheaded drivers, we've seen aggressive drivers, all as long as they show a lot of speed, they can make their way through the ranks. And Corey has age on his side. He's young enough that I think he's got time to develop and get out of some of these bad habits. These cars are a lot bigger than what he's used to driving. So, he's out there driving around a bulldozer pretty much. That's what it looks like to us, but it's probably what it feels like to him as well. So, no, I think the best thing going forward for him is just own up to the mistakes that you make, try to minimize them going forward, learn from them. We want to see him learn a lot this year. And we'll talk about where he is in the standings in a little bit, but he's in a good spot. He's getting great finishes. It's 3 races in, but he is he's not doing any favors for anyone right now. And I know that Hendrick Motorsports really doesn't want that to happen. They don't want to see that because eventually those guys are going to turn on him at some point. The other guys in the field will turn on him and make him feel for all the wrongs that he's done. So, anyway, going to be really fun to watch his O'Reilly's season. I wasn't, super hyped about it coming into the year. It's just like, okay, cool. We got a guy that's going to drive on Saturdays, but he's making headlines and he's got great results to start. So I'm having more fun. I'm definitely more into it now than I was. Obviously, I'm a Corey Day fan. We're going to keep pulling for the kid, but boy, we need to see some things change hopefully soon. It might take time, but the sooner the better. It's hard to stand up for him. So, yeah. And last thing from the COTA weekend, the COTA race, how about Mike Joy's call on that last lap? Wasn't that crazy? That was an all-time blunder of a call, by the way. Okay. The race was over. They already waved the white flag, and Mike Joy loses his mind about a spin on the front stretch. I don't know. It was totally uncalled for. That reaction was just over the top. It was over dramatic. And I don't know why I'm bringing it up on the pod. I just felt like mentioning it. It was caught me off guard. I was like, what the heck's going on right now? We all knew the situation. Like, if there's a caution, race is over, dude. Wasn't that big of a deal. Kind of funny, though. I feel like that's one of those little TV calls that's going to be replayed over and over again just for the hilarity that was involved in it. But yeah, that was like the biggest things to take away from COTA. Not a whole lot. We're 3 weeks into the season. 3 pretty good weekends for NASCAR so far across all the series. Even trucks, I mean, had a great race down there in St. Pete, and Lane Riggs came away with the win. So it was cool to see some new faces, some old faces get into new equipment, not only in trucks, but also in O'Reilly. We had Dario Franchitti driving for Jimmy Johnson's team on Saturday, and he got out of the car and he was beat. He had his work cut out for him, and then we saw that on Sunday with a few drivers. We're going to talk about Bowman here in a few minutes. He had to get out of the car early. His race ended early, and then AJ Allmendinger was put on a stretcher and taken away. We saw Brad Kay limping off. Like, I mean, he was probably going to do that anyway. He's got a bum leg, but looks like those guys got beat up by the track and the heat that was present in Texas over the weekend. So that's all the big storylines and takeaways from COTA. So now let's do the fun part. Let's talk about Hendrick Motorsports. I say fun in that tone because it wasn't fun. Back-to-back weekends of no top fives. Okay. No Atlanta. We didn't have a single car in the top 10. And this week, we did have some top 10 finishes, but we didn't have a single car in the top 5. And COTA just feels like one of those tracks that HMS should be showing out at, and that did not happen. So let's look at how our race went team by team, beginning with our best finisher, Kyle Larson. He started 15th, and then he didn't score any stage points, but he finished 6th. It was the best finish we had this weekend on Sunday. And Larson's race, I mean, it kind of went how you would expect. You would kind of hope for a little bit better, from a guy that is regarded as one of the best drivers in the world. You would hope for a better race. He kind of came on late and, hung around in the top 10 most of the day. Looked like he'd be a top 10 car, but really, really would want him to go for a top 5, So, and that didn't happen. Got close, but didn't happen. So next we got Chase Elliott. Now, he qualified the best out of all of our cars. He started 5th, and in the first stage he finished 8th, but then he finished this race 7th. Now, that really does not tell the story of his day. He was awful. He was dog water on Sunday. He was not great, and this is a road course. You kind of expect him to do a little bit better than he did. He just, I've gotten used to watching Chase at the road courses, and he never gets passed. He always passes everybody else, but on Sunday, that was a different story. he was the guy getting passed left and right. And I think that there was, possibly a mechanical issue. I didn't look too much into the matter. Um, I just it wasn't fun watching his race, so I just kind of gave up and tuning in, to be honest with you. But he did save his race by calling himself to pit road, and that's the reason for the great finish that he had. 7th place finish on newer tires down the stretch of the race kind of helped him stay steady. He still didn't go out there and light the world on fire like you would hope, but 7th place finish for the kind of day he was having, really great result. Okay, so we're not going to complain a whole lot. I'm going to complain a lot about the performance of that car, but I cannot complain about the results. No, sir. All right, next we had William Byron. Now, 24 car started 10th and no stage points in the first stage, but he did finish 9th in the second stage and then went on to finish 13th for the race. So I really thought Byron had the best Hendrick car in the field on Sunday, but in that third stage, he just fell off and it kind of looked like one of his little summer slump races. He was really great for 2/3 of the race, but the last bit just fell off. It was ineffective and did not get the result that they probably deserved. I thought they were a pretty good car. Byron drove a good race, and just at the end, it all fell apart and didn't get the result, didn't get the points that they really deserved out of that 24 car. And then last, we got Alex Bowman. So this was interesting. He started 16th, and then he finished the first stage 7th, and no other stage points, and he didn't even finish a race. So Bowman, he apparently got sick during the race, and he couldn't finish the race. So, shout out to Myatt Snyder for stepping in to finish this race in the 48 car. I assume Bowman's okay. Haven't heard any word on if he's up in the air for this coming weekend, but to not be able to finish your race had to be feeling pretty bad. I mean, because even when the car's bad and when you're not having a great race, guys still stick it out. So he must have been feeling really ill. So hopefully he's all right. But yeah, that car was also pretty worthless on Sunday. Tough to watch that race because that's a track that he usually excels at. And we're 3 races into the season, and he's in a hole that seems impossible to climb out of. So with that being said, let me give you the current driver standings. Okay. And just for our 4 drivers, I'm not going to mention everybody else. So Chase Elliott is our highest driver in the standings right now. He is 3rd. He's 72 points behind points leader Tyler Reddick, and he's only 2 points out of 2nd place. So he's right there. Reddick has the big lead on everybody, but then it's Bubba, and then it's Chase. Chase is 3rd in the points after 3 races and really hasn't looked great in any of the 3 races. I mean, he had that great finish at Daytona, but it kind of fell into his lap. Yeah, the win was taken away from him, but only on that last lap. I mean, he really didn't have a great full race in any of the 3 weekends we've had so far. So to still be 3rd, I mean, that is the consistency of Chase Elliott and Alan Gustafson, and that 9 car just finds a way to grind out good finishes even when they don't deserve it. So hopefully they can turn things around and start threatening and contending for wins. But right now, they're still in a pretty good point spot. Okay. William Byron is 13th in the points. He's 110 points back. Larson is 15th in the points. He's 113 points back. And then Bowman, 36 in the points. That is last out of all the full-time drivers, and he's minus 163. So I don't know what that gap is to see. I mean, we can kind of figure it out. I don't know what the gap is specifically to 16th in the points, but the gap to 15th, which is Larson, is 50 points. So, I mean, it's doable. We have 23 races to go, but man, they are way behind right now. Tyler Reddick has had the perfect start to a season. Like you couldn't imagine it going any better. Alex Bowman has had the most imperfect start to the season. Like you can't imagine it going any worse than how it's been for the 48 team. So they're in a hole right now. But good news, they got 23 races to figure something out. before we move on to Phoenix, let me give you the Corey Day race statistics and his standings. So he started 12th on Saturday, and he did finish 7th in the first stage. Then he went on to finish 5th. So 2 top 5s in a row for Corey Day. And that currently has him 8th in the O'Reilly standings. He is minus 68, and their points leader is Austin Hill right now. All right. So let's get into our Phoenix preview. Phoenix, Arizona coming up this weekend. This is the former championship race, which, again, it will not be the championship race this season. We will be there twice, so this is the first of 2 visits to Phoenix this year. Okay, the next time we come here will be very important because it will be one of the lead-up races to the championship in Homestead. It might actually be the lead-up, okay? I don't remember the schedule. I'm only looking week to week. And so I know it's this week. This is the spring visit to Phoenix. So let me tell you how our 4 drivers have done throughout their career when they've gone to Phoenix. Beginning with Kyle Larson. He's got 23 starts at Phoenix. And in those 23 starts, he's got 1 win. He's got 11 top 5s, 15 top 10s, and he's led 395 laps. His average finish is 10.3. That is the best among all active drivers. So very consistently good finishes for Larson. Now, Chase Elliott has 19 starts, and that includes 1 win, 5 top 5s, 11 top 10s, 583 laps led, which is the most among all the HMS drivers, and his average finish is 12.1. William Byron has 16 starts at Phoenix, and that includes 1 win, 3 top 5s, 9 top 10s. He's led 340 laps, and his average finish is 12.2. And then Alex Bowman has 21 starts at Phoenix, which includes no wins and no top 5 finishes. But he's got 3 top 10s, and he's led 196 laps, but his average finish here is 20.9. So this should be a decent track. Among the drivers that we have currently, they do have 3 wins at Phoenix. We've seen a couple championships clinched here, and I don't think Byron's ever going to get his chance to get one here, but he can get a win. We've seen him do it before, and that could, when he does it in the fall, that could lead into Homestead with great momentum for any of these drivers. But it just feels like a Byron type of year, right? I think that was one of my bold predictions for the season. Let's get into the betting odds for Phoenix. I got these lines from Hard Rock Betting app. So your favorite to win the race on Sunday is Ryan Blaney. He's plus 475, and that's just a reference point. Okay, so now I'm going to give you 4 Hendrick drivers and their odds. Larson is plus 600. Byron is plus 700. Chase Elliott is plus 1,300. And then Bowman is plus 5,000 to win this race, okay? And then some notables I wanted to mention. Some interesting things that stood out to me. Tyler Reddick, first of all, because he's won 3 in a row, I figured it'd be worth mentioning that he's plus 1,200 to win this week. Carson Hocevar, he's plus 2,500. He's making the headlines right now. Everybody's expecting him to get a win at some point. And so this week, if you put $10 on him, it'll win you $250 if he wins. And then Bubba Wallace, he's plus 4,000 to win this week at Phoenix. And I mention him because he's second in the points. He's off to a great start. And I don't know his individual history at Phoenix. I don't recall if this is like a strong track for him or a weak track. But he's racing for 2311. They got a lot of great mojo right now. And he's second in points. So plus 4,000 odds to win the race might be something you want to think about, right? With that being said, though, let's make some predictions. We will start with our Hendrick winner. This week, I got to go Kyle Larson. And I do think Byron's got a chance to go contend for a win. I think on the right week, Chase could. And I don't know if they're ready for that yet. It could be one of those surprising victories that we've seen throughout his career, every now and then. But I feel best and I feel most confident that Larson's going to go out there and be able to contend for a win this week. So I will choose him as our Hendrick winner. Now, our non-Hendrick winner, I think it would be easy to go with a Penske driver, but I'm not going to do that. and I'm not going to pick any of the other Hendrick drivers. Obviously, it's a non-Hendrick category. So 2 Toyotas come to mind. First of all, Chase Briscoe. I feel like if there's a Toyota that will contend with the rest of the field, he's got a good shot at being the guy. We've seen him win here before. We just saw him race for a championship here in November, which, I mean, it didn't turn out great for him that day. But I just like where that team is at right now. Yeah, they had a bad finish at COTA, but when they were running up front. He and Chastain both at COTA were really good cars that had terrible days, bad finishes. So I don't know. Maybe Briscoe is a thought. He's definitely in consideration, but we got to ride the wave. And if we're going to pick a non-Hendrick winner, we have got to pick Tyler Reddick. Now, I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see him win 4 in a row to start the season. I don't. I really don't. It would be cool. It'd be history. That's the only thing I would like about it is we get to see some history made, some more history anyway. You know, Jeff and Jimmy both won 4 races in a row at some point during their seasons. But we've never seen 4 to start the season. We never saw 3 to start the season. So we already have seen that. We don't need to keep adding on to that. So I don't want Reddick to win, but he's plus 1,200 odds, and he's got it going on right. It really feels like they can't be touched. So don't be surprised if he goes out there and wins this week. Obviously, Penske's going to be tough, but Tyler Reddick's going to be one to be reckoned with, and I'm hoping that maybe Larson, Byron, and Chase can be some guys to be reckoned with as well. And by the way, I do want to say thank you to Tyler Reddick. He's the only guy from this past week that beat SVG. You know, we spent some time on our podcast last week talking about we don't want SVG to win a 6th road course race in a row because that would have tied Jeff's record. So thank you to the 45 team and Tyler Reddick for winning that race and ending that streak. Now SVG has to start all over. He might get that record one day, but it ain't today. It ain't now. And so for that, I am thankful for Tyler Reddick. But now your winning needs to stop. Okay. We're going to need some Hendrick drivers to step up in Phoenix this week. All right. I still owe you one more prediction. Let me give you the long shot. Blaney, Logano, Penske drivers, but they are not long shots to win this week. They are favorites to go out there and win at Phoenix. So I can't pick them in this category, but I can pick their teammate. So I'm going to pick Austin Cindric. Really, the long shot came down to him or Josh Berry. And, you know, last season I would have said Josh Berry, but I don't feel great about where Josh Berry is right now with that 21 car. And I'm not saying that he's on the hot seat, but I'm not sold on him, you know, much further along. If he can get back and return to how he raced at the beginning of last season, then I'll change my tune on that. But right now, I'm not impressed by what I see from that car every week. So they're going to have to start doing something. And I'm not saying that Austin Cindric is super impressive, but I do feel a little bit more better about picking Austin Cindric between him and Josh Berry. Yeah, that's who I'm going to go with for the long shot. I don't think a long shot will win this week. It's going to be very hard to beat Blaney, Logano, Bell, Reddick, Denny, Larson. Those are the guys that are going to go out there and race for the win. You know, even Briscoe. But, man, if something crazy happens and we have to pick another Penske car, I think I'll go with that 2 car. And before we move on, let me give you some odds real quick from the O'Reilly series coming up. So they race on Saturday, and we're going to have 2 drivers to watch in that race. William Byron's driving, and he is the favorite to win on Saturday. He's plus 300. And then our guy Corey Day is plus 3,000. All right, so I don't know if I guess we can pick Byron to win that race. I didn't build a parlay, and I didn't have that written in my notes. But I mean, if we had to make a pick in the O'Reilly series, it's going to be Byron, maybe Jesse Love, maybe Austin Hill comes out there and has another good race. He's a points leader for a reason. You know, I don't expect Corey Day to go out there and win. That's why he's plus 3,000. So I guess we'll go with Willie B winning on Saturday. Before I give you the weekend schedule, I have one restaurant recommendation. Even though I've never been to Phoenix, if I did go, there's one place that I would have to visit. I would visit multiple places. That's just what I do when I go to a new location. I go to several of the hot spots. So, by all means, if you're traveling to the track, go Google what places you need to go to, like go visit when you're in Phoenix. But the one place I know for sure I would visit without using Google, I would go to Barstool Scottsdale. Okay, right down the road. I looked it up. It's like a 25-minute drive from Phoenix over in Scottsdale, Arizona. The Barstool Bar. I've never been to one, and I've always wanted to. So, they have several locations throughout the U.S. But whenever I do a Phoenix race, I'm going there. So if you happen to go to Barstool this week, tag us in your pictures, or at least send it to me. DM it to me, okay? I would love to. I'm going to be celebrating here with a drink. So when you're celebrating there with a drink, hit me up, okay? Let's share the love. All right, anywho, let me get you the schedule and we'll get out of here, okay? I got a TV show I need to go watch. Now that I don't have homework, I don't have an assignment that's due tonight, so I'm gonna go lay on the couch and watch a TV show. But I gotta give you these race start times. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the pod, it is a full racing weekend. I'm talking, we got ARCA, we got Trucks, we got O'Reilly, and we got Cup. All four series in NASCAR. But we also have another series joining us. IndyCar will be racing as well. We're sharing the weekend with IndyCar and NASCAR combining together. So it's going to be fully loaded and packed. This would be a great weekend to visit as a fan. I'm probably going to get some FOMO, but I've got other things to tend to down here. So let's start. The schedule begins Friday at 7:30 on FS1 will be the truck race. The IndyCar series they'll race on Saturday at 3:00 on Fox. O'Reilly will race after them Saturday at 7:30 on CW. And then Cup is on Sunday at 3:30 on FS1. And that is a whole racing weekend crammed into like 4 days. I think cars hit the track today. You're going to be listening to this on Thursday. So I think ARCA cars hit the track on Thursday, and man, enjoy it. Okay. I'm going to enjoy my weekend. We've got tons of things planned, celebrations, gatherings that we'll be taking part of. And I know on Sunday I'll be at the golf tournament here. So I don't know how much of the race I'll be able to watch live, but I will surely be keeping up with it on my phone and checking to see how we're doing throughout the day. Hopefully we'll get back at a decent time so I can watch the end of the race. But however you end up spending your weekend, live it up. We are all celebrating. You can celebrate us. I will celebrate y'all. And let's have ourselves one, all right? Y'all be safe, whatever you do. Come back next week, and we'll talk about what we witnessed. All right, now.